Do genres have expiration dates? Hey RV family, keep it tight. My name is Jay Morris, the Review Guy, reviewing music for the love of music, and I'm back again to bring you another video. Your first response to said question at the beginning of the video would be, no, as long as someone's making music, a genre's not dead. But when it comes to sort of my I Wanna Rant series, I enjoy tackling these odd topics that you don't usually hear talked about. Certainly people entertain themselves with the thoughts of, is this genre dead? What killed this genre? Where's this genre gone? But with more and more genres coming back from the dead and sort of rearing their ugly head in such a way that is quote-unquote reviving them, it services as sort of a renaissance, whether you're talking about how nu metal has been creeping back up into the mainstream with both the new metalcore movement as well as seeping into sort of alternative metal having a comeback. A grand example of that would be Bring Me the Horizon's newest EP, Survival Horror. That record has so many moments that feel straight out of Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory or Linkin Park's Meteora. Take the death metal scene of all these new bands that are cropping up playing in the old school. And yet many genres in metal specifically, as opposed to some other genres that consistently will have really breakthrough releases, has had a lot of stagnant periods where a genre will take the forefront for one reason or another. This can be exhibited with the black gaze movement that really overtook both from the American scene and some of the European scene with bands like Alcest, bands like Death Heaven, and so many more that were playing what was known as post-black metal, merging post-metal and black metal in such a way that it was becoming a cultural phenomenon. There are always bands that are willing to push the envelope, push the boundaries. Take Liturgy, for example, with transcendental black metal, and it's always going to make people upset. But see, an expiration date, depending on what you're talking about, can live past its shelf life. Just because something says the best used by date doesn't necessarily mean that that's still not edible, that that's still not usable. It just may not be as good as it was. And I think this is a good point to highlight. I think the expiration date analogy sort of always coincides with a bleak period where there aren't as many releases for a specific genre that break through. And I find it fascinating that people always return when a new release does crop up from said genre that is outstanding, that is great, that pops out, that sticks out like a sore thumb. But with that said, it seems like metal genres are just consistently fluctuating back and forth, bobbing and weaving up in relevancy and irrelevancy, going from underground to slightly mainstream, underground to slightly mainstream, and sort of poking their head up above water just enough to present some great releases and then sink back down for another genre to pop up. The trends for metal, while it is sort of outweighed by other genres such as hip-hop and pop and R&B and country that will be the zeitgeist of the musical landscape from time to time, and if you look at the charts, there's usually one genre in particular that dominates, that usually comes as a result of numerous artists being the it artist, the best artist, or the so-called best artist for said scene. I think you can draw a comparison with metal quite prominently. The biggest bands in metal usually will dictate what is considered the zeitgeist, because that is naturally going to attract more listeners, both from the metal scene as well as the outskirts of the metal scene, whereas everyone else is just dwelling comfortably in the underground listening to whatever new black metal or grindcore release is. There might be a new death metal record from a band that really gains a lot of attention and attracts people that are outside of the conventional metal listening landscape. You'll see in a lot of popular metal releases, specifically death metal releases, a lot of people being like, this isn't usually my cup of tea, but I really dig this. And I think that is indicative that a lot of times the relevancy of an album can very much dictate if a genre stays relevant at that specific time or not. Yes, a genre will never go irrelevant entirely. It will never just be completely out of the question. There will always be people making music within those lanes, but there is an expiration date because these genres will go down, but depending, they can also rise like a phoenix and genuinely be stronger than ever, and this is showcased a lot in how many genres get revived. So while a genre might lose its expiration date or be bad for shelf life, there are always going to be bands and artists that are influenced by the past later on that come back to it. But I want to know your opinion of this topic. Be sure to let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts of it are. Like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is. My name is Jay Morris, the Review Guy, and I'm signing off saying farewell.